everyone, and welcome to the quick start video for AI agents. In this video, we're going to cover all of the basics that you need to get started with AI agents in NinjaCat in under 10 minutes. If you're following along, by the end of this video, you should have an AI agent who is capable of finding negative and irrelevant keywords in Google Ads so that you can add them to your negative keyword list. Let's dive in and take a look. Much like the rest of the journeys inside of NinjaCat, the foundation for your AI agents is going to be data. To set up data inside of your NinjaCat instance, you'd simply go to Settings, Data Sources, and choose the data source that you want to connect. Currently, you'll see that I have a list of data sources which have already been set up inside of the platform. However, if I wanted to add a new one, I simply go to Add Network and choose the provider that I want to connect to. In this example, I would fill out this information, continue with Google, and simply enter my Google credentials to get everything connected. Once your data sources have been set up inside of your NinjaCat instance, the next step is to set up accounts. Accounts inside of NinjaCat represent the individual entities that your data is attributed to. In this example, I currently already have an L&E demo account set up. However, if I needed to add a new one, I'd simply click on the Add Account field and fill out the information for the account that I want to connect. Once this account has been established, the next step is to connect your data to that account. In order to do that, I simply select my account from my account list and hit the plus button on the data sources option. This plus button will pull up all of the data that is available to connect to my instance, and I'm going to simply choose Google Ads in this example and fill out this form. As you may have seen on the previous screen, I already have Google Ads connected, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out. With those things set up, we're ready to set things up inside of NinjaCat's Data Cloud. NinjaCat's Data Cloud is an integral piece of setting up your AI agents. To begin setting up Data Cloud, I simply navigate over to the Data Cloud option on the left-hand side and start with Connectors. This step is establishing a connection between the Data Cloud and the quick connectors that I set up earlier when I set up my data source. To add a new connector, I simply go to the Add Connector button on the far right-hand side and choose the data provider that I want to pull in information for. In this example, it would be Google Ads, and then I would proceed with filling out the information here by choosing the credentials that I want to connect, giving this a name, and choosing some ingestion settings. In this example, I already have a connector set up, so I'm going to go ahead and close this window out, and you can see that I have that set up here. If I go to my Google Ads, I can start to choose which data sets I want to pull into the platform. In this case, you can see I already have a Google Ads keyword and search query performance data set up. However, if I needed to add this for the first time, I could simply choose the plus button and choose the dataset template that I want to pull in. Datasets represent different sets of dimensions and metrics that I can pull into the platform. Following this process, if I were to still choose the keyword and search performance, I could see which dimensions and metrics are available inside of there, simply slide down to the bottom, click on Next, and finish filling this information out to set up this dataset. Since I already have my dataset set up, we're ready to go ahead and proceed. Now we're ready to get to the exciting part, building our AI agent. To start building an AI agent in NinjaCat, we're going to simply navigate to Agents in the main menu bar. This is going to bring us to a list of all of the agents that are currently set up in our NinjaCat instance. In this example, since we're building together for the first time, I'm going to navigate to New Agent on the top right-hand corner. From here, I'm brought to two different options for how to proceed. I can either start from scratch, which is going to allow me to build an agent from the ground up, or recruit an agent, which will give me a foundation that I can start with. In this example, we're going to utilize the Recruit an Agent to build out our negative keyword analyzer. In our list of starting points, we have an agent called Negative Nancy. You'll notice that when I highlight Negative Nancy, I can choose the option to start training. When I select Start Training, I'm brought into the Agent Builder. Inside of the Agent Builder Bob will take a pre-generated prompt to start building this negative keyword analyzer. It'll look for the tools, data sets, data, and other information that I need to get started. We'll give this a second to run here, but you can notice as it's going through, it's filling out all of the conversation to keep you updated with everything that's going on. It's looking for those data sets that I had set up earlier and finding relevant information. Once it feels like it's ready to get to a point that it needs some information from me, I'll get a question. So in this example, it's saying, would I like to add those data sets? Those look good to me, so I'm going to say, sure. With that information, Bob will continue on his journey building out Negative Nancy for me. I've jumped ahead a little bit in my video to cut down on the time you needed to watch Bob just talking. But you can see here that I've gotten the message that agent configuration is complete. I'm prompted with some final questions if there's any changes that I want to make before I set this off to go. I can go ahead and adjust this later, so I'm feeling happy with this, and I'm going to say this looks good, and go ahead and send it off. Bob will then confirm that the agent is ready to go and start interacting with. If I wanted to preview what interacting with this agent might look like, I can simply navigate over to the preview menu on the right-hand side and type in my first message. In this example, I'm just going to ask Nancy to do her thing for my L&E advertiser we set up earlier. I simply type in a message that lets her know what to do and hit return. She's now going to begin running that analysis for my L&E demo advertiser. It's important to note that we are still inside of the preview window. What that means is that these conversations are not saved with Nancy. They're simply just for testing out and making sure that she's behaving the way that I would like. While we're waiting for her to generate some information and check on the preview, I want to talk about some other tabs that exist if you wanted to further customize your agent. The first of which is our General tab. Underneath the General tab, you'll see all of the information regarding who this agent is, what it's supposed to do, and the instructions that it will follow. At any point in your agent's journey, these can be customized. I also have some additional options for the model that's being used, who can see and interact with this agent, as well as some really cool options for setting up triggers, sub-agents, and a lot of other cool features. If you'd like to know more about these features, I'd highly recommend taking our AI agents learning path inside of NinjaCat or exploring the information on docs.ninjacat.io. Another important thing to call out here is the Knowledge tab. At any point, if I wanted to confirm or update the data set that Nancy is interacting with, I can simply navigate to the Knowledge tab and add a new data set or files for her to reference. With that quick demo, I can see that Nancy looks like she's doing her thing and giving me some really valuable analysis about negative keywords for my L&E advertiser. So this looks like it's good to go and save for right now. I'm going to simply hit the Save button on the top right-hand corner, and Nancy is now ready for me or my entire team to interact with. Now that Nancy has been saved, I can navigate to my Agents tab on the left-hand side at any point that I'm in NinjaCat, and she'll be waiting for me here. By choosing Negative Nancy, I'm brought to my conversation where I can have a conversation with her regarding my advertisers. At this point, since Nancy is live and running, all of my conversations will be saved and private to me, and at any point, if I did want to make further edits, I can simply do so by clicking on Nancy, navigating to the Action button on the top right-hand corner, and clicking on the Edit button. With all of that in place, you're ready to go ahead and get started with AI agents. We hope you're as excited about AI agents as we are here at NinjaCat. If you'd like to learn more about your AI agents, I definitely recommend taking a look at our AI agents learning path here inside of NinjaCademy, or looking at docs.ninjacat.io for our full documentation. We're super excited to see what you're going to build, and have a great day.